My name's Kent Cobb, and I'm from Cochran Heights. Dallas sort of grew up around it, and they were the last holdouts. And actually, I live on Alcott Street. Most of the streets are named for members of the Alcott family. A lot of the homes were built in the 1920s and 1930s. They're Dilbeck and Hutzel. Some of them are still standing. Some of the ones that were brick veneer are still standing. And then there's a lot of the ones that were frame houses that have been torn down and regentrified. So we have a constant tension. We're about 50% regentrified, 50% historic. This was the neighborhood where Jack Ruby lived at the time when he became infamous for shooting Lee Harvey Oswald. It's actually, Alcott Street's actually mentioned in the Warren Commission report, which was the first thing I found out about it when we were looking to see what sort of history the neighborhood had before we moved in 5 years ago. There's a gentleman who lives across the street from me who used to own our lot, and he talks about Jack Ruby like he's talking about his next door neighbor. So we have some connection with history, we have some connection with the future, and we have sort of constant tension between the two. We have lots of issues with how fast we're changing and in what direction. And
so what drew you to the neighborhood?
We like the combination. We personally liked having some parts of the neighborhood that were not totally being scraped. That we had something that was not completely new. It's an incredibly convenient neighborhood. It's close to downtown. It's a walking neighborhood. We have a lot of things that are within walking distance: restaurants, shopping, that sort of thing. Just a very nice place to live.
Great. Is there anything that you would change?
I'd find a solution to our parking problems. And what that is, I don't know.
Yeah. So you've been there 5 years. Where were you living beforehand?
Before that, we were living in Lake Highlands, which is not quite suburbia, but very similar. We moved from an area that's just very different, from much larger lots to much smaller lots, from no parking problems to significant parking problems. Just a very different type of neighborhood.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for talking with me.